In this video we will cover the segments feature of the engagement server. We will explain what segments are, discuss the supported location features like geo-boundaries and beacons, and show you the creation of segments in the engagement server. It is assumed that you already have access to the trial account of the Mobile Foundry whose engagement provision. Segments of subset of the users in the engagement server who satisfy certain criteria. Segments are used to send targeted messages using campaigns or other supported notification mechanisms like ad hoc and events. Segments can be created based on the user attributes or based on the location of the user. Location-based segments use geolocations and beacons. Once the segments are created and saved, you can apply logical operators on these to create more complex conditions. Next, we will show you the steps to create and save the segments in the engagement server. We will walk you through the creation of the segments using the user attributes first, and then also walk you through the creation of the segments using the geolocation and the beacons. Log into your Mobile Foundry and open the engagement server console. On the left side, click on the segments under the engagement category. This will open the segment screen. Click on the Add Segment to start creating a segment. The name of the segment that we will create is called as New Jersey Residence Segment, and for the conditions we will choose one of the attributes of the user, and that is going to be the state. Next, we will choose the equals for the operator, and then we will choose the value as New Jersey. In the execute conditions by, let's go ahead and choose match all the conditions. As you can see, the user count here gets updated to 1. That essentially means that there is one user in your engagement server who actually matches this criteria. We definitely want to make sure that the user count is at least more than 1, otherwise this condition which we are using to create the segment is of little use. Let's go ahead and click on Save to go ahead and save this segment. Once that segment is saved, you will successfully see the segments page again, and you also can see that now we have a segment here that is called as New Jersey Residence. Next, we will go ahead and show you how to create the location-based segment. Before we show that, you will have to go into the engagement and then first click on the location. Here you'll see that there are 2 tabs. There's one geofencing, and then there is another one for the beacons. Now the location-based segments can be created using the geofencing or the beacons in the Volt MX engagement server. We will first walk you through the creation of the segment using the geofences. Click on Add New to go ahead and add a new geofence. We will create a geofence for our HCL office. I entered office address. You will see the latitude and longitude get pre-populated. I just leave the radius value as 50. Now I just call this as HCL office location. The description can be left empty if required, and then the tags values also can be left empty. The client action is a drop-down which I'll just explain in a minute here. So the description is fairly straightforward. It tells you what the description of that particular geolocation is going to be. The tags values help identify a particular segment or group a particular set of geo-boundaries based off this particular tag value. The client action can be 3 values. It can be Notify Engagement Server, Local Client Notification, or Custom Business Logic. Notify Engagement Server option tells the client application that it has to notify the engagement server and update the location of the device once the user enters into a particular geo-boundary. Local Client Notification tells to the client application that it needs to show a local notification on the device once the user enters into that geo-boundary. Similarly, the Custom Business Logic tells that the application will have to execute some kind of a custom JavaScript or a business logic that we want to be executed on the client side. So when we create a geo-boundary, these are the 3 client action options that we have. We can choose any one of those. I just go ahead and choose the Notify Engagement Server for now, and we'll just go ahead and save. It shows the list of the geofences now, and then you can just go ahead and click on the name, and you can see that it basically shows the HCL office location geo boundary that we just created. Now let's go ahead and look at the beacons. Now beacons are pieces of hardware which work on the Bluetooth technology. Now to go ahead and add a beacon, click on New Beacon. It asks for the beacon name. We'll call it as again HCL Office Beacon, and then you have to enter what is called as UUID, which is a unique identifier of that particular beacon. Now when you buy this particular beacon, which is a piece of hardware, you would also know exactly what that UUID is going to be. For now I'll just enter a random value. Major ID and minor ID are other pieces of information that tend to be uniquely identify that particular beacon within a geographic location. We don't need that for now, so I just leave it as empty, and then I will just click on Save. Now you can see that it has saved our beacon that we just created, which is called as HCL Office. Know that we have created our geolocation in the beacon. The next step is to create the segments using those two. Click on Add Segment. For the name, we will go ahead and create a segment with the geolocation first. For the name, we will give it as HCL Geolocation Segment. For the attribute, let's go ahead and choose the location. And then for the operator, we'll leave it as contains, and then for the value we will just go ahead and choose HCL Office Location, which is the geolocation that we created. As you can see, the number of users shows up as 1. For the execute conditions, I'll choose as Match All Conditions, and then click on Save. Now you will see that the segment has been successfully created. Next, click on Add Segment again to go ahead and create a new segment using the beacon. We'll call this as HCL Location Beacon Segment. And so the attribute, I will choose the beacon, then for the operator leave it as contains, and then for the value let's go ahead and choose the HCL Office Beacon that we created. We can choose Match All Conditions and click on the Save. You will see that this segment also gets successfully created. And here is the new beacon segment that we created. This completes the video, where you have understood the segments in the engagement server and have seen how to create and save them. Please refer to Volt MX documentation for more information.